Today, AMD released a video titled Ryzen TM Processors 5 years later. And as you might expect from a surprise release from AMD where they talk about their upcoming products, there are some key details that they confirm are coming to Ryzen soon. But I can't help but feel the headlines being shown by a lot of rumor websites are not the headlines of what's actually newly been confirmed by AMD today. And I'm seeing a lot of confusion in discussion boards about what AMD talked about in this video when it pertains to what is actually new today and what we've actually kind of already known for a while. And so I want to try to clear some things up here. Not just want to, I have to. This is why I made Moore's Law is dead. There are certainly some things in this video that are new that AMD confirmed, but they're not what people are talking about for some reason. And so let's get into it. I mean, after all, the best source you can have are things that a company confirms publicly themselves. And actually, the first thing I have to say about this video is that I found it very funny immediately. I mean, why even pretend this is an interview? Don't kid yourself. Everything in this short video was haggled over by marketing and engineering departments and canned. Every question and every answer given was pre-rehearsed probably multiple times. This was not an interview. This was really a press release I suspect was put into a video format by two AMD employees, an AMD employee interviewing an AMD employee, because this is, well, this is damage control less than a month before Alder Lake launches. Well, okay, maybe damage control is too harsh of a way to put it, but this is effectively a press release masquerading as an interview, trying to dissuade potential Alder Lake buyers. I mean, it's two AMD marketing people talking to each other, and the title of the video doesn't even really make sense. 5 years of Ryzen? How is this 5 years of Ryzen? Ryzen came out in 2017, and the name Ryzen wasn't even announced until December of 2016. It has not been 5 years of Ryzen. It hasn't even been 5 years of officially talking about Ryzen. This was an interview that I suspect they were going to do something with in December, but they feel like they have to do now before some people pick up Intel's newest space heaters, Alder Lake. In fact, if you ask me, you can tell it's about dissuading potential Alder Lake buyers because right in the beginning, Robert Hallock, Director of Technical Marketing at AMD, talks about how AMD is bringing big performance increases over the next few years, specifically emphasizing that it's not just about efficiency or price performance, that this is about top performance and top performance soon, which is all the people looking to buy Alder Lake are worried about right now. God knows Alder Lake will use a ton of energy.
Zen as a philosophy, as an engineering habit, will allow us, next year, 2023, 2024, to continue delivering on what people care about. They want higher frequencies, more IPC, lower power, performance per watt, gaming performance, and Zen does that.
And what I want to get into now is confirming, well, what other people are running with as headlines are not new information. And I think people may be misremembering things that I confirmed, in fact. Like, let's listen to this first thing he says here.
But all platforms must move on. So in 2022, Ryzen will have a new platform, and some key ingredients are DDR5, PCI Express Gen 5, and cooler compatibility with existing socket AM4 coolers. So I've seen the rumors, you have too, saying that next gen platform will only have Gen 4. No, it'll have Gen 5.
Not my rumors. I talked about how Raphael was at the time planning to axe PCIe 5.0 support that they're certainly capable of putting in it if they want to, in favor of more consistent platform upgrades. Remember, that early Zen 4 leak was labeled as early for a reason. It was talking about a product that's coming out a year and a half after it's being talked about. Like, this is almost the equivalent of that Whispers of Golden Cove video where things can change and not all of the details have been decided on yet. Now, the overall core architecture is pretty much locked in stone, but which design they will go with, whether it has up to 24 cores with an IO die that can support that, or just 16 cores, and if it will have PCIe 5.0 as standard across the whole lineup, that was deliberately emphasized in the video is not being decided on yet. You know, it's not news to say that AM5 will get PCIe 5.0 support. Of course it will. It's not news to say that Zen 4 will have PCIe 5.0 support in some products. We already know Genoa will. It might only become news if AMD decides to bring PCIe 5.0 to all AM5 platforms. Now, I'm not even just talking about like a X690, like maybe they just call what was going to be X690, X670, and maybe they actually have like B650 get 5.0 support when it wasn't planned to get it before. They say, you know what, costs be damned, we just have to have feature parity, people will pay more. That's something that AMD certainly can decide to do if they want to, and frankly, the stuff being said about Zen 3D is not news either.
So there will be a Ryzen product in early 2022 that goes into socket AM4 with 3D VCache.
So let me just underscore that for a second. For all those AM4 customers, you know, tens of millions of them worldwide.
That's right.
The 3D chiplet technology, specifically VCache, is coming to Ryzen.
That's right.
I'm assuming on the Zen 3 based products that we have today.
3D VCache is like that. It's a 15% on average gaming improvement.
Yeah, I mean, we know that it's going to be a 15% performance uplift. This has been talked about consistently and even publicly by AMD already. And I find it interesting in his statement that he says 15% in games, and then goes on to say that Zen 3 brought 30% in games, but a lower IPC increase in a lot of other applications. Basically, in my opinion, directly saying that Zen 3D is at best going to be 15%, that most applications it'll be lower than that, but of course he emphasizes gaming performance because gamers are looking to buy Alder Lake. But again, you know, none of that's really new, and it's not new that Zen 3D is launching early next year. No one has said that it's tapped out yet. Like this, none of this is new. So for this part of the video, what I want to close on is emphasizing that AMD can do whatever they want. Like I confirmed in my May leak, AMD has multiple options for what their Zen 4 lineup will look like. No, they're not going to redo the whole Zen 4 architecture. That's pretty much locked in stone now. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying what could have been a more boutique offering or chipset that they were going to bring out later could become much more of a standard offering sooner if they think they need it to beat Raptor Lake, which it kind of seems like they think. In fact, even though I do agree with video cards pointing out some of the things that AMD technically confirmed, because, you know, some people are running with them saying things they technically didn't say, really AMD only technically confirmed that AM5 has PCIe 5.0 support, not necessarily which products on AM5 will have it. I wouldn't emphasize that that doesn't mean Raphael could get 5.0 support. You know, I would just reaffirm what I said, that they can do Gen 5 if they want to, they can do more than 16 cores if they want to, but it's up to them. And in fact, you know, after seeing this video, I did ask some of my sources, you know, for a quick gut check, you know, is anything really changing here? And what I was told is that there's always been evidence that PCIe Gen 5 could be on more than just a few products since the beginning, but that most of the documentation at the time, you know, back in May, was pointing to PCIe 4.0. So with that in mind, I would say, yeah, so if the documentation back then still referenced PCIe 5.0 sometimes, which I'm not going to show it, but it did, then it's certainly not crazy to say that they're just going to go with that at all. It's just going to cost a lot more, as other of my sources said, but they might decide that that's worth it. You know, especially if they make the Zen 3D and Zen 3 XT lineup a bigger thing with, you know, like a wider rollout, almost as its own generation at the beginning of 2022, because you could argue AMD should just keep offering AM4 with DDR4, with PCIe Gen 4, with Zen 3D as a lower end offering, and then just kind of upgrade what AM5 is. It costs more than the AM4 products we launched this year, and it's for more so enthusiasts than those other products are. Buy Zen 3D, and it's, you know, AM4, PCIe Gen 4 platform. If you want the best price performance, you don't even need Gen 5, but if you want the best, like what Intel is probably going to try to offer with Raptor Lake, then you're going to have to pay as much as what Intel's charging for Raptor Lake. And also, I mean, there you go then, right? AMD is clearly taking Intel more seriously after the veracity of the Alder Lake rumors is proving to be very high performance products. I feel like I was the only person for about 2 years saying, hey guys, Alder Lake could be the next Sandy Bridge. This could be Intel's start of their comeback. And now AMD is finally taking it seriously, that basically everyone's gotten on board with what I've been saying the whole time. And they're tweaking some of their products and what they're going to put into them accordingly. And that's something they talked about in this video that everyone's missing. Things like machine learning accelerators.
Platform. What about other fixed function hardware choices that we might make? Sort of that Zen philosophy balance of what else we want to add to bring better experiences to the community.
So frequency, architecture, process, packaging is another lever. But yeah, this idea of accelerators or non-CPU core performance enhancements is a key ingredient of our roadmap going on in time. And it could be functions that do noise cancellation for teleconferencing, or further out in time, these computer vision and machine learning accelerators can be specifically used to enhance performance as well. There are just some tasks that are AI driven or machine learning driven that just run much better when you have a specific accelerator for it. So these, that's a several years worth of roadmap development in parallel to cores and process.
That's right. People miss the actually new info to argue over. People like me or fans of mine have known about this Gen 5 and other stuff options for a while now. The new info in what AMD released today is that they are doing similar things to what Intel is doing with Meteor Lake, bringing out, more fully fleshed out neural engines and machine learning accelerators for all different types of use cases to directly, as he says, that's right, enhance performance, and not just at like one niche thing, but at a bunch of things. That's the headline. That's the new thing. And seeing tech websites and tech tubers cover information we already know. Zen 4 possibly getting PCIe 5.0 for consumers, and Zen 3 launching early 2022, something Lisa Su literally confirmed months ago, instead of the far more exciting possibilities of an accelerator war between Apple and Intel and AMD is blowing my mind. That's what's new. And in fact, I almost wonder how many of these tech rumor websites ignored this information because they're not sure what to make of it yet. I wasn't sure what to make of when I first heard about that. As I said in my Lunar Lake leak, that I kind of slept on some of that machine learning accelerator stuff at Intel because, frankly, I didn't really grasp what it was going to be used for if you're a gamer. But now I feel like I more so do if you listen to my latest Broken Silicons. So yeah, that's the new information in addition to this.
It's called Power Management Framework. And it's this idea that unlike CPUs today, which use a power management algorithm that is one size fits all, doesn't matter if you're running a document or a game, it's the same algorithm all the time. What if instead you had multiple different power management algorithms in the firmware? And depending on what the user is doing, you can shift between them. That allows you to extract even more power efficiency from the CPU, which is so important in notebook for battery life. So that's a key one. We're also working on new power states. So you can turn off more of the CPU cores, the GPU cores, the things around those cores. And that too is another extension of battery life. And it takes lots of engineering work to make these aspects of the chip discrete enough that you can turn them off without affecting performance or anything like that. So those are just two examples.
Right. So AMD probably emphasized the performance enhancements at the beginning of the video, not just to dissuade Alder Lake buyers, but because he knew that the actual new info they were putting out there, and this was all about machine learning, VPUs and efficiency increases. And he wanted to make sure that's not what all the headlines were, which is funny because that's, none of the headlines are even talking about the actual new info, which is that AMD is doing separate roadmaps for things like machine learning accelerators and efficiency increases that are separate from the core architectures and node shrinks, that they're going to do things to enhance efficiency outside of just a new architecture or 5 nanometer. And that's a big deal. I think we're going to see some incredibly interesting and efficient products competing, with like Meteor Lake versus Zen 5 in a couple years, or really 2.5 years. And well, that's what's new. That's what's new that AMD announced, and I'm excited to see those products at that time. But for now, most of what people are talking about from this video is stuff that they're still deciding on if they want to be for competitive reasons, and stuff that isn't really new. And I felt like I had to say that in this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe to the Moore's Law is Dead YouTube channel and ring the bell button. Don't miss all of the content that's been coming out over the past few weeks from me, or the content that will be coming out. And remember that if you want to support the channel, send a super thanks. Support us on Patreon. Get access to that ad-free exclusive content that comes out every week. Ask me questions, talk with the community, ask guest questions. We have another exciting guest coming out who's a big guy in game development soon, so don't miss that if you're a patron. And for everyone else, as always, thank you for watching.